All right, here's what's happening right now. This is happening. This is happening. This is happening. All of this is happening. Yeah, we're moving house. Just gonna rip it out. So we first got the news on the 4th of Jan. Today's the 22nd. Our landlord decided not to renew the lease because they're going to be selling the place. Legally, they need to give us 4 weeks to vacate, which is what they did. So they are perfectly within their rights legally. However, the weekend that we had to vacate this apartment by was a weekend that I needed to work. So we decided to push our move a week earlier, which gave us 3 weeks to find a place, pack up our things, and then get out. And this is the first time we're gonna have to move with this many plants. So at the time that you're watching this, we basically looked for apartments for about 2 weeks, and this coming Saturday is our moving day. So it's Monday the 22nd, and we're moving on Saturday the 27th. It's just all happening so quickly. And we're sad to move because this is the first apartment Tim and I had together. Prior to this, we were share housing. Look, those share housing days are just long gone. Like, you know, you hit a certain age and you're like, I'm never going back to share housing. This was our COVID sanctuary as well, all throughout 2020 and 2021. And however long that weird Sydney lockdown lasted for, it's sad, and it's all happening too quickly. So I don't know. Anyway, we've spent the last couple of weeks looking for places. We've gone to so many inspections, like so many inspections. It was just inspection after inspection after inspection after inspection. I was doing house inspections in my dreams. I kid you not. I would be going to inspections in my dreams. Anyway, we had a list of things that were like kind of high priority for our next place. I don't think that we could do another apartment balcony situation. What we have here is pretty unique. The balcony that we've got is really big for an apartment. We're on the top floor, there's no cover. All of our cacti and succulents have full sun for the morning because this is an east-facing balcony. And it's not that I think that nowhere else in Sydney like this exists, but we had 3 weeks. I mean, that kind of like gives us 2 weeks. In order to not be stressed, you kind of have a 2-week window to find a place and then 1 week to do the actual move. If you think about it, it's not really the ideal amount of time to leisurely find what you want, be really picky about a place, secure something, and then move. Because of the area in Sydney that we were looking at, it is a little less competitive than the inner city. I don't even want to think about living close to the city anymore. The further you can get me away from high density places, the happier I am. We were actually looking at the Blue Mountains area, which kind of isn't feasible for Tim's job in the short amount of time that we had to move. Like, we can't just sort of upend our lives. As much as I would like to just to the middle of nowhere and get away from the chaos of the city, we're just not in a position to do that right away. So we're not there yet. There were 3 places that were kind of like high on our list. We did see a couple of places that were in like the lower mountains region, and there was this one place that we saw that was just it was so beautiful. It had a really beautiful cottage vibe. There was like natural light coming in, and it was just surrounded by leafy green trees. However, the garden didn't work for us. There wasn't really an enclosed garden, and to sort of have that many cacti and succulents exposed, we just kind of didn't really want that. And also we just sort of felt that the real estate agent wanted to keep the garden the way it was. There weren't too many options for garden beds. The main thing, I mean, space, we needed at least 3 bedrooms because Tim and I are working a lot from home now, and we sort of need our own office spaces, I guess. And the garden was a priority, and for it to just not be crap. Like I told you, I'm done with, you know, share housing and things like that, and that just includes living with that works. After you've like hit a certain quality, you can't go back to living in crappy houses. You just can't. So the bedrooms and the garden. Garden is a priority. We were looking for yards that have like paved areas so that pots could be placed there and we wouldn't have to ruin anyone's grass and lawn. Garden beds that were just rock and soil. Somewhere where we could put our pots, or it's not going to be the biggest deal if we do plant something in the ground and then take it out at the end of the lease. It needs a good amount of sunlight. There is no point in us getting a garden for our cacti and succulents if it's going to be fully shaded by neighboring trees. And let me tell you, the house that we got, I like the house. I like the house a lot. Don't know if it's a forever home, but I do like it a lot. But the garden is actually quite perfect for what we want to do. There's garden beds that we can kind of like, we told the agent that we were looking to have like these water-wise garden beds. And there's an arbor as well. Not an arbor, it's like a, is it called an arbor? It's like a little gazebo that's not a gazebo. Anyway, it's like this little undercover area that's really sweet. And they have creeping fig climbing up along like some of the wooden structure. And so my dream is to cover the whole thing with creeping fig, ivy, and anything else that climbs, pretty much. Yeah, I'm really excited. Now we can stop stressing about finding a place and just start stressing about moving everything out of the house and the balcony. We're gonna have to get the removalist to take some of the bigger pots that are out on the balcony, so the Russell pot and the Perodia Lenninghausii. There's a Euphorbia trigona out there that's going to be too tall for any of our cars or even a van. So what I thought I'd do is go through, see what plants I'm going to purge. Now, yes, I know that this is going to upset some people, but we are going to purge some plants. It just has to be done. Some of them are dying. They're not even worth keeping. And also, I think this is just a good opportunity to really assess which plants I have time to look after. Which plants are going to be worth taking into the next phase. The next phase. Yeah. I'm going to do pass on, purge, or pack. There are some plants that we're just going to pass on, and when I say pass on, we're probably just going to move them to Tim's work, really. If you work with Tim, you're going to get a couple of more plants in your collection. Oh gosh, it's like 8:39 now, and I don't really feel like starting on this tonight, so maybe we'll start on it tomorrow. Okay. You know what? We're going to start with something fairly easy. This is... just fell right off. This is a philodendron verrucosum. Oh my god, look at this new leaf. I don't know what happened here. Did I just forget about watering it? I'm pretty sure I watered it. I just don't know what's going on. Anyway, I kind of wasn't really too interested in this plant. Yeah, look, we're gonna get rid of this one. Wow. I just don't think I really cared for this. Look, this was barely new. Probably too big for the pot, that's why it got overwatered, underwatered, whatever. You can see that I've got really high hopes for things like this. Ooh. Wow. Actually, no, the roots look pretty good. I think I just let it dry up. Oops. I'm gonna keep these moss poles because I'm constantly using moss poles, and we'll find something else to go in this pot. This one is, or was, a philodendron esmeraldens. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I forgot to take care of it, or it really suffered the week that we went on our road trip, and it just never bounced back. I moved it away from the window so it wasn't getting hit by the summer sun. I did pop another grow light here in this really cool lamp, but I don't know, it really just never bounced back. I think it might have gotten root rot, or I just don't know. Anyway, the whole point is that I am gonna give up on this because it is a fussy plant. It is such a slow grower. It is so unsatisfying, but it's a really beautiful plant. Like when you see a mature one, the leaves are absolutely gorgeous. I remember when I was doing the indoor houseplant tour just before I left, this already wasn't doing so well, and then the week that we went away, anyway, I think it just suffered even more and then it never bounced back from there. I think it's time to say goodbye to this one. I'll probably get another Esmeraldance when I have the time to look after it a little bit more, but now's not that time. So you know what? This one is a purge. Wow. I think that was definitely getting root rot. Oh, wait a minute. That really rooted in there. Can you see that? Well, why didn't you grow anything? All right, that's that one. R.I.P. Esmeraldance. Okay, this one I actually really am upset about. My Gloriosum is really struggling. Look at that struggle streak. I don't think there's any good leaves left. 2 leaves fell off here. This was like an unfurling leaf that fell on the floor. Oh my God. Oh, good Lord. Yeah, that was it. That was an unfurling leaf that just fell off. Oh, I'm so upset about this one. This is like the largest indoor plant that I've grown and it's just gone to crap. Here's what I tried to do, and this is my lesson here. I was about to do my first ever chop and extend, and you can see here that I prepped for that. However, I forgot to water the moss pole. Yep, yeah, really rookie error. I forgot to water the moss pole. And I was like, oh, I'll just let the cut harden off. Well, you need to water the damn plant as well if you're gonna cut off its root system. Like, I know that sounds like all dirt now, but I just missed doing that. I just didn't even think about it when I was chopping it. Anyway, lesson learned. I think what I might do here is I am going to get rid of this plant, but I think I'm gonna try and save the top. So I'll do a top cutting because that leaf is about to unfurl. I know that this has been rooting into the moss pole really well. I'm hoping that there's going to be some decent roots around this. What do you call this? I'm going to pop that in as a cutting in water as a cutting and then just see how that goes. But the rest of this I think I'm going to get rid of. This leaf looks semi-decent and maybe I can get a growth from there. In fact, is that a new growth? I might try and get some growth from there. And then maybe I'll do wet sticks with a couple of these nodes. The nodes. I know, you can give me absolute shit for not remembering to water the moss pole. I'm going to do this now. All right, here we go. Come on. That's separated. Oh my God, look at my orchid. I actually haven't watered my orchids in a few weeks. This is still fine, but the flowers aren't surviving. I think, am I gonna break some roots? Is it gonna grow more roots if I break the roots? Wow. Oh gosh. Nah, that's pretty rooted in there. I'm gonna have to undo the whole moss pole situation, I think. This is the only place where we could put it. It's the only place that is not covered in boxes or whatever at the moment. We're gonna just try and remove just this top bit. Everything else can be kind of like cut out of the plant, but just like to remove this top bit. This is definitely the last thing I'm doing tonight. Everything else can wait till tomorrow. Ooh, why is this so like... What is going on with this root? What is happening? Oh God. Oh my God, what is with this root? What the heck? This root is savage. Wow. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. I don't have time for this. Oh my goodness. You're going to come out of this chicken wire mesh right now. Oh wow. Oh, what the? Whoa. Oh my gosh. Okay. Look at these roots. That's just from like one node. That's wild. That is wild. Okay, I'm gonna have to pop this in some water. All right, you know what? I'm gonna stop filming now because it's nearly bedtime and this is just gonna be quicker to clean up if I don't do it on camera. And I'm just going to do some more tomorrow. I'll see you then. So this is what ended up happening with the top of the Gloriosum. This is a chop cutting and this is just a part of it, and I've just popped it in water for now. Don't know how I'm gonna transport an open jar of water, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. I also I also did this, which is just, I don't really know what I'm doing. I took some notes about 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have, if you can kind of see, I've put them in here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not really a propagation person. I cannot keep things this fragile alive. It just doesn't happen. I mean, my leaf propagates. It's exciting to see the little plantlets grow at the end of the leaf, but in all honesty, I really struggle to keep them alive, like intentionally. The only way they survive is if it's like an accident. Like if I throw a bunch of leaves into a pot outside behind some other plants and then they grow somehow and I just forget about it. Yeah, I'm not this person, so I don't know how these are going to go, but for some reason I'm just trying it out, and we'll see if any of these live. So that's that. We're going to try and chuck out a few more things. Oh my god, there is some serious stuff going wrong here. This is an aeonium. We've kept it inside for a little while because it's not really aeonium weather at the moment, but the more horrifying thing is, can you see that? There's freaking like moss or mold or some kind of green growth in the substrate. That's wild. I don't even think I've watered this, so I don't know what's going on. That's really gross. That's going in the bin. Definitely purge. Where's my little bin? Oh, that's gross. Wow, I could not keep this as Lanii alive. I really got to stop getting plants that require so much time and attention, because I will get into busy periods. I just can't keep up with, you know, like a watering schedule or routine. In the bin. Purge, 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 purge. Okay. I am a little bit sad about this one. However, it wasn't doing so well. Leaves were falling off it. We've got a little bit of yellowing, so I think I might have just overwatered it. So what I've done is I took cuttings of this and I put them in water, and so I am regrowing this plant. I'm kind of starting from scratch with this because this one is it's just struggling. There's so many, you know, there's so many stalky things like this, and it's not really kind of bushing out in the way that I want it to. And the thing is that I actually love this plant so much. This is a Gloriosum purpurea, something like that. I keep forgetting. I think it's like a Gloriosum purpurea or something like that. Columnia gloriosa purpurea. In all honesty, this is probably my favorite house plant. I love the leaves on this. They're like fuzzy, dark colors, and when this blooms, it's the most beautiful orange red flower. And the reason why it's called goldfish plant is because the flowers look like goldfish kind of like jumping out of the water. It's so stunning. So I really like having this around, and in fact I've propagated this plant so many times just so I can have it all around my apartment. But this original plant is not doing so well, so I am going to it does make me sad to bin this one, but I am just gonna chuck it and then start over again. Oh god. Oh wow. I like this pot as well. This is a very nice pot. I'm not going to throw out this plant. I'm just going to chop off the bloom stalk. This does need watering though. I haven't watered it in like forever. This is what I mean when I say I'm not a propagation person. These are Graptosedum bronze delights. Graptosedum bronze delights. Graptosedum variegans. This is actually one of the easiest plants to grow in my garden, and one of the prettiest as well. If you are looking for a clumper, go Graptosedum bronze delight. However, this is what happens when I try to nurture propagates. I just don't take care of them. I'm just not that person. If you don't watch this channel if you're trying to figure out how to grow stuff from scratch, because I don't do seeds and I don't obviously do propagations. I took the rosettes as cuttings and left kind of like the main body of the plant in here. And then little plantlets grew and I was like, oh wow, I'll chuck them into some arrangements, and I just let them die, because that's what happens with me when I care for things. I don't really do gardening for the thrill of growing something from scratch. I'm not that person. I just like arranging things and making a space feel nice. So that's going in the bin. Crassula Buddha's Temple. I really like this one. It's a very cool, structural, alien-like plant. However, I should not have grown this indoors. And the pot for this is way too big. Look at this. Look at what I've done. Anyway, it's dried out. This is like, I think it's probably just best to give up on this and then start over. And I probably will put it outside and not keep this as a little specimen indoors by the windowsill. Sorry. Yeah, this is like just dry as. I just forgot to take care of it. Look at that. It's super dry. Yeah. Nope. Start over. We're going to start over. Okay, now if you watched the video about trying to rehabilitate the big planter that a huge cactus called Russell was in, you'll remember that I pulled this out. I thought that pot had root mealy. What root mealy does is eat away at all the roots so that they can't absorb any nutrients, and I think that's what was happening with this plant. I had 2 rainbow cacti, and I love rainbow cacti. Probably my favorite cacti, just because it's not green. It's a beautiful pink color. But this one I'm gonna let go of. But before I do, I want to cut it open and see what's going on with it. I want to see if it's like really rotted. I feel like, yeah, it's pretty squishy. I mean, this thing has rotted. The other rainbow cacti that I pulled out of that pot is actually doing so much better now. It's kind of like on the windowsill, it's thriving, and maybe one day it'll end up back in an arrangement. But this one, I put it in its own pot to see if it would bounce back. And if it didn't bounce back, I had this whole idea of like cutting it open to see what was going on. So you know what? This still isn't looking too healthy. It's very, very squishy. This was kind of like really, really squishy before I put it in this pot, and I was worried that it was rot. And it's still not looking great now. So we're just gonna cut it open, see what's on the inside before I throw it out. This is a real shame, by the way, because these are very expensive. Do I just cut this? Is that what's happening? Oh, God. Oh. Oh. It's really green. Did I just make a big mistake? I mean, that's not looking healthy either, is it? Did I just cut open a really expensive cactus that was actually okay? It just wasn't absorbing anything, that's all. Oh, now I'm kind of mad at myself. Oh dear. All right, let's see if there was anything wrong with the bottom part of this. No, this is all green. Maybe what I'll do is I'll keep this and I'll see if anything it'll grow. Offsets. Okay, well that was just really super weird. I totally thought it was going to be rotting on the inside. Okay, that's such a shame. Oh well, you'll learn. Also, a couple of you mentioned in a video that I did a while back that with open cuts, it's a good idea to put cinnamon on it. Actually, might see if I have any cinnamon right now. Okay. I don't have any cinnamon, so I'm just going to leave this and place it somewhere separate from anything that can give it an infection, and we'll just hope for the best, okay? Well, I don't think there's any other plants that I want to purge, but I do have a couple of plants that I want to repot so that Tim can take to work, because I don't love them anymore. And they're really good, healthy plants, but I don't want them in my space. This one is a succulent. This is called a Sansevieria green mirror. It looks a lot like a whale fin. I think I first showed this plant on my indoor plant tour video, and I was complaining about it. I was basically saying how I bought this because originally I wanted something that would grow really tall. Like I want a giant whale fin, like just like something super architectural. And I then found out after doing a little bit more research, that these are bred to stay really small. So I'm giving this away because it's just not what I'm after. Yeah, it's kind of nice, but it just doesn't, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of snake plants. I mean, I do have a couple of Sansevieria here, but they're kind of like very, what do you call it? Just tiny little sculptures. Most of them I find to grow, like the offsets grow at really weird angles, and you constantly need to be pulling them out, cutting them back and shaping them just so that you can have kind of like the arrangement or the shape that you want. Because these will actually grow really quickly. Look at this. This is the newest leaf and it's the tallest leaf. Like this grew in a matter of weeks, I think. They actually grow really quickly. And I just like how thick they are as well. But anyway, this is not kind of like hitting the spot for me. So I am going to repot it. And Tim's going to take it to work so I don't have to look at it in my space. This plant has been sitting in an aeroid mix, in a chunky aeroid mix, instead of a cactus and succulent mix for the last few months, and that was kind of my way. I just noticed that the snake plants were getting thirsty really quickly, so I'm just experimenting with putting it in substrate that holds more moisture, and it seems to be doing pretty well, I have to say. Like, look at this new leaf, offshoot, whatever you call this. It's doing really, really well, so I don't want to change anything. There's a couple of plants that I switched over to a much more water retentive mix, plants that you wouldn't think would need it. So for example, I have, hang on, let me show you. I'll see if I can get it. This is an Adenium Desert Rose. This wasn't doing so well when I had it in cactus and succulent mix. I wanted this Cortex plant to like really swell up. Like if you're gonna be a Cortex plant, you just be a Cortex plant. And really, I don't want a twig. I want something that's gonna be like, you know, solid. And this wasn't doing so well in the cactus and succulent mix that I was putting it in, and it was getting a ton of mealy. So what I did is I chopped all of this right back. So this was non-existent a few months ago. So like to look at it now, it's doing really well. Anyway, I chopped it all back. So this had no leaves on top of it, no branches, cut it back to basically just like this nub. And then instead of the cactus and succulent mix, I put it in my chunky aeroid mix. Well, look at her now. And she has been sitting out in the rain, getting way more moisture than what she was getting inside. So previously she was just kind of like sitting by the balcony window. The state that she was in probably had to do with, you know, lack of airflow as well. But the person that sold this to me said, no, you can keep this as an indoor plant. Clearly, she loves being outdoors, and look, she's in my chunky aeroid mix, as you can see. She's doing really well, I have to say. And so I've been keeping this and this Sansevieria green mirror. I actually do have a Sansevieria wellfin, the Sansevieria Masonia or something like that. It's over there. It's really dry at the moment because I've been ignoring it. So I'm going to be potting this up in aeroid mix. It's doing well. Like, I don't know, you tell me how that works. I think snake plants like a lot more water. Snake plants are known to be the plant that you can have in your house and not look after. I've noticed that they don't look their best if you don't look after them. I mean, it's one of those plants like a ZZ plant where it's like, well, they thrive on neglect. I don't know any plant that really thrives on neglect. I think plants can survive on neglect. I don't think plants thrive on neglect. Ah! Substrate everywhere. I'm wondering, I'm gonna have to probably do this, hey? Yeah. Oh gosh. All right, oh God, oh good Lord, oh my God. I don't like this pot either. I was trying to sell it on Facebook Marketplace, but since Tim was going to be taking this plant to work, we thought, well, might as well give it this pot. It's not a terrible pot. My taste in pots are changing, that is for sure. I'm just going to repot it in the same mix. See? So this is, oh my God, my brain has gone blank. This is orchid bark, cocoa chips, perlite, and pumice, and a little bit of cocoa peat as well, but that's it. There's no soil in this mix. And I'm just going to reuse the same stuff because I potted this up not too long ago, so you can use the same. The mix is still fine. Achoo! I mean, I think that looks fine. Okay. That is that. There is one more plant that I want to not purge, but pass on to Tim's office environment. And that is, it's this Dracaena. Now, I don't really like this thing. I mean, Dracaenas are nice, but I don't know if I like the look of it as a house plant. I don't like the look of this one. It's kind of been sitting in a really dark corner, so it, you know, it's not looking the happiest, and I think it does need to move, but I just don't think it goes with anything in my house at the moment. Don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bit of, where is it? There's a little bit of mealy there. I'm just gonna have to pull it out of its pot and then bring it over, because I'm not gonna lug this thing over to where I'm potting things up. So yeah, just hold tight. Okay. So I did decide that we're going to move over here because I want to reuse this substrate, this soil mix. It's not even really soil mix. There's no soil in it. But I want to reuse a lot of this because it wasn't that long ago that I potted this up. My real challenge, I think, is going to be fitting all of this into this. It may involve getting rid of some of this. Maybe. No roots. Wow. Wow. Oh, that's hefty. Okay, and these two can probably come out together. Again, very small. I think all of this is going to fit in here. Can you even see? There we go. There we go. Don't need to get rid of any part of it. The first time I potted up a Dracaena, I did it in cactus and succulent mix. Again, this is going into the chunky aeroid mix because I think as indoor plants, they could just do with a little bit more water retention. I don't have any science whatsoever to back this up, but that is just my gut feeling. And you know, having grown this in a couple of different substrates and having planted things indoors with cactus and succulent mix, I just think that this is probably the way to go. Or at least I'd like to just try using a different mix with the Dracaena. Definitely don't think it's bad for the plant. Oops. I actually think that looks really great now. I don't know, maybe it just needed a smaller pot. I don't want to keep it. I don't want to keep it. Don't think about keeping it. Pass it on and move on with your life. It looks pretty good. As you can see, everything has fit, like really magically. Yeah, not the happiest plant, but hopefully it'll do much better in a new home. Oh, is it raining? Don't rain, I'm just about to film out here. I just felt a droplet. I filmed this whole outro last night, and today I was thinking, how sad would it be if I didn't film one last outro on this balcony? I'm gonna miss this balcony. I mean, this is kind of where everything started. I bought my first cactus during COVID. Yes, I'm one of those gardeners, a COVID gardener. But I bought my first cactus and put it outside and then turned it into this epic cactus and succulent space. So it's very special to me, but I am also excited. I realized when things were kind of sinking in, just as I was having a sit out on this balcony today and I was looking around, and I really think that I'm going to be able to do a lot more in this new garden. Like, I could probably set up more trellises so that plants can grow up them, and I can create cool backdrops for my large cacti and succulents. So I'm not necessarily just looking at a grey wall here. I think it's exciting. It's sad and exciting. But I thought it would be really nice to just film out here one last time, and yeah, maybe we can have a look at some of my favorite things out here. Everyone, we're going to leave this video here. Today is Wednesday and we are moving on Saturday. I'm going to be documenting the whole thing, so if you want to be kept up to date with that, make sure you subscribe so you can see what's happening. One last farewell from this balcony, but I'm so excited about the new garden and I hope you can join me for that. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.